Hey guys, I feel very frustrated that we cannot speak about Ireland at school, so I've decided to speak about Ireland in my YouTube videos. Today I'm going to tell you about the history of Ireland. The history of Ireland dates back to 8000 BC, before Christ, with the arrival and settlement of the first humans. They lived in small social groups and had great knowledge of how to live off the land. Stone Age people had a great awareness of the sun and how it moved. They may have believed that the sun would not return, so they built many passage tombs and stone circles to mark the movement of the sun. The Celts arrived in Ireland in 1200 BC and mixed with the earlier inhabitants, which resulted in the evolution of the Irish Gaelic language and culture. The Celts were fierce warriors, but they also loved music and art. They also loved telling stories of giants and fairies to explain what they saw around them. In the 5th century after Christ, the Celts captured a young Welsh boy, Patricius, and brought him back to Ireland as a slave, without knowing it would bring their complete culture to an end. After St. Patrick converted the Irish to Christianity, many monasteries were built around the island, and Ireland became an important place for education and religious work, producing beautiful treasures and books. The island became known as the Isle of Saints and Scholars. Monks built monasteries in very isolated places, which they found ideal for praying, learning, and living. In the late 8th century, Ireland was raided by the Vikings, who burnt down the monasteries and stole their treasures. They liked Ireland and decided to stay. They set up the first cities and made ports such as Dublin or Cork. As the Vikings were losing power in Ireland, another people invaded the country, coming from Normandy. The Normans conquered England in 1066 and took over the power and the culture of the country before invading Ireland about 100 years later. Actually, the King of Leinster had asked help from the Anglo-Normans to reclaim his throne, but ended up losing control to them. The Normans built the first castles in Ireland and really integrated into the Irish culture. The English started to worry that they would claim the land for themselves, so they wrote laws to prevent the use of the Irish language and ban the Irish from cults, education, or sports. It marked the beginning of 800 years of political involvement of the Brits in Ireland. In 1527, Henry VIII, King of England, split from the Catholic Church to create his own church, the Church of England. The consequences for Ireland were terrible, as he stripped the Catholics of all their power, destroying all the monasteries. From that time on, the English would set up plantations in Ireland, confiscating the land from the Catholics. Many wars and rebellions followed, all unsuccessful, until Oliver Cromwell came into power in England. He crushed the last hopes of the Irish, leaving death and destruction on his path. Many Irish people were executed or sent as slaves to the new colonies of Australia or America. Farmers saw their lands confiscated and had to pay expensive rents to their landlords. In 1801, the Act of Union deprived Ireland of its parliament, and Ireland was integrated in the UK. By 1829, new rights were given to the Irish, but unfortunately, the worst was yet to come. The Great Famine struck Ireland. More than 1 million died of starvation, and as many fled to the US. Before the famine, the population was 8 million. It dropped to 1 million by the end of the 19th century. In the wake of the famine, the people of Ireland were angry and started to organize for a rebellion. It augured on Easter 1916, when the Civil War broke in Dublin. The first rebellion was crushed and the leaders executed, but it led the way for the War of Independence and eventually to the creation of the Republic in 1948, a compromise where 6 counties of the North remained in the UK. Violence and terrorism followed for many years during a period called the Troubles. To unite Ireland, but eventually, a peace treaty was signed in 1996, and peace finally came back to Ireland. This is it for the history of Ireland. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't hesitate to come back for more soon.